All right, you ready to go?
Let's do
George, thanks for taking time again. Let's do this whole thing again
it.
to discuss golf fitness and what you're working on, what you're working on with your clients, what's working, what do you found that doesn't really work so well to kind of help some of these amateur players feel better, move better, and ultimately play better. So, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
For sure. I played college golf. So straight from high school, played pretty much every sport. Um, and kind of had to make a decision what sport I wanted to do. And ended up going with golf. Came out to Miami to play college golf. And then always hit the ball a long way. Um, and in my final year of college, I decided to enter the Long Drive World Championships at the qualifying. Qualified in my first event.
Was that in
And
Mesquite?
No, that one was in Oklahoma.
Okay, okay,
Um, I believe it was Oklahoma, 2019.
okay.
Um, and yeah, so finished tied 33rd there, I believe, in my first year. And I thought, wow, this is something that like I can really do. Because regular golf in college, I was like I could hit a good ball. Like I've always been a good ball striker, but always struggled scoring around the course. So, and I found it very challenging to kind of get my mind right for regular golf. And then with long drive, I was like, well, this is something that I'm already pretty good at, and it takes out a lot of the other aspects of golf.
Right.
So for me, it felt a little bit easier. So did that for. I mean, I still do it now, but been doing that since 2019. And then probably the last year. Um, I have really been focusing on my regular golf game, and dialing everything in. And with kind of my new so college golf was very mechanical golf swingy, focusing on static positions, working on club path and all this. And I think now looking back at it, that's one of the reasons why I really struggled scoring and I struggled with consistency. And through like my whole, so I'm a movement coach. So teaching people how to move the body properly and been doing that for 6 years. And through that, I've kind of learned how the golf swing is more of this fluid motion
Yeah.
rather than positioning or trying to find certain positions. Because every position that you see in the golf swing is a dynamic position,
Right.
meaning certain positions could be byproducts of another conscious feeling
Hmm.
um, in the golf swing. And through implementing that in my own game, it's turned out that, the rest of my golf game, and I actually have a really solid foundation for golf, way better than I did in college. And my ball striking is very consistent, and I'm playing a lot better. So I'll probably do Q school either this year or next year,
Okay, cool.
and give it a little run at it. For me, it's just off the tee for me right now is the name of the game. So getting that consistently in the fairway. Basically, how I feel the state of my game is, if I don't lose a golf ball, it's going to be very difficult for me to shoot over par.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
because I don't, the rest of my game is through all the new techniques that I've kind of learned over the past few years. It's simplified the golf game. And I think I said to you last time, I wish I had known this when I was playing college
Yeah.
golf,
Yeah.
because I believe that I could have done a lot more in college golf and it might have opened up a few more opportunities earlier on. Uh, but so I could have also not learned any of this stuff and been in the same place. So
Yeah. Yeah, for
um,
sure.
but yeah, playing a lot of regular golf now as well, and then obviously still coaching um, online, and also started doing it in person as well because I have my simulator set up at home. But it's a very different way of looking at the golf swing. It's not mechanical at all. It's about getting the body moving good.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said last time, what came first, the golf swing or the golf coaching?
I love that
And
question. I love that question.
the golf swing came first, right? And
Yeah.
it's the golf coaching has been a way to break it down so that we can charge people,
Yeah.
to teach them the golf swing. But at the end of the day, it's like I relate it to if you're trying to cut a tree down with an axe, right? You wouldn't have a lesson of how to swing the axe, right? Your body's going to naturally kind of find the most efficient way to add speed into the end of the axe to cut the tree down the quickest. And
Yeah.
it's really the same thing. It's all about the release. Like if you don't release your wrists, that axe is going to have no speed. You're trying
Yeah.
to release the wrists so that the point where the club hits the ball is the point of maximum, or the point where your wrist turns back into a neutral position. Um, and that's why I think we see so many different golf swings that all work.
Yeah.
Because it's all in about how you release it. Like I saw Rafa Nadal, the tennis player, his golf swing, like his backswing is absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
takes it back like he's hitting a backhand, but he hits it straight and he hits it good because, obviously being a tennis player, very good at the release and
Mhm.
knowing how to release the racket or release the club to get the ball to go where you want to go. And so I mean, having implemented just more about what, hey, listen, we're playing golf, we're not playing golf swing. I think it's
Yeah. For
what you
sure.
said last
For
time.
sure.
It's
Yeah.
we're trying to
Yeah.
get the ball to go where we want it to go.
Yeah.
We're not trying to have a perfect position swing. Um, and that has completely changed my own game. And I know it's changing other people's games. I have people on the app message me all the time saying they've just shot their new low score after like 1 week,
Yeah.
because it simplifies it. Like, let's be honest, like the average golfer who, maybe plays on the weekends doesn't want to have to spend 4 hours every day on the range trying to dial in a swing position. I mean, I think Tiger Woods said in an interview it took him 2 years to get his swing right, like when he was going through the swing change.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Tiger's hitting thousands of golf balls every day, and it took him 2 years to create that change.
Hmm.
So it's like, well, how long do you think it's going to take the average golfer working on positioning?
Right. Right.
You're
Right.
basically never going to create a lasting change working on positioning because you just can't put the hours in for your body to remember that.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
so just changing the way that your body actually moves will organically change the club path and hand path and all this. So yeah, I've kind of been taking that approach to golf, and it's had some really good effects on my own game, and some great lasting results on some others as well.
Cool. Well, how do you see, George, uh, all of these new patterns that you've kind of picked up on and you're implementing in your swing and your client swing? How does that translate for you to how you take care of your clients on the fitness aspect, whether it's in person or online?
For sure. So some people, I mean, everyone has very similar lifestyles, right? So everyone has very similar issues.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people have, maybe have done other stuff in their life, and so they have different issues, and when we tackle that, but I'd say 90% of people have the same issue. And usually it's just to do with loading. So what I mean by that is basically weight transfer in the golf swing and loading and releasing energy. So I look at the golf swing from how well do we load and how well do we release energy. It's not about how hard can we hit it, how can we do all this. It's if you don't load because you're gathering energy from the ground, right? That's the only place we can get the
Hmm.
energy from, okay? Because whatever we push into the ground, we get an equal and opposite back. So if we're loading that inefficiently, we're leaving a lot of speed and efficiency on the table, right? So, and most people load very inefficiently. And what we see when in the golf swing is the same thing that will show up in other things in their life. So, how they walk, how they run, how they throw, right? And so it helps to identify flaws in movement by watching how someone walks and how someone runs and how they squat, how they hinge, how they just kind of move in their everyday. Because we're going to see some issues with stability in the pelvis, So we're going to see pelvic shifts. Pelvic shifts will then affect what the kneecap does. If you shift to one side, typically you're going to get a knee valgus where the knee caves in and the ankle caves in. And so you see all these different byproducts of poor movement from usually this very similar things. And it's usually to do with the lateral stability of the pelvis. And I think we lose this through sitting in chairs and kind of like making our body a little bit lazy. So if we're sitting in chairs all day, our body doesn't have to work because we're relying on the chair for support. So it doesn't have to
Fighting
support
gravity, right?
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you do that for 10, 15, 20 years, your body's gotten weaker in the positions that you need it to be strong in. And then when you go and do, athletic things like swing a golf club, those same things show up and we're lacking the proper stability in our body to be able to swing the club efficiently. So really when I get clients and we go through the movement assessment, I'm watching how they walk, run, hinge, squat, just their regular standing posture. Then we'll also take a look at the golf swing. It's really just identifying the flaws in the movement of their body, and tackling that aspect of it rather than saying, oh, well, your club head's too far on the inside, we need to fix that.
Right.
Because when your body moves efficiently, the club and hand path just kind of corrects itself organically.
Yeah, for
So it's
sure.
a big focus on changing the movement of the body, of how we walk, how we squat, how we run, how we throw, how we do all this. And then what that does is it has a lasting effect on the golf swing. And I would say the big thing that I've seen in my own game and in others is the consistency of hitting golf balls or day in, day out. So what I mean by that is in college, I trained like a bodybuilder in college. So I had chest day, I had back day, I had leg day, shoulders, and what it would be was every time I go to the driving range, my body would be feeling different. And so I might be hitting it really good, like say on Monday. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling really good. And then I wake up on Tuesday and my body just doesn't feel the same as it did yesterday. And I'm not striking it now. And I can't figure it out. And then Wednesday is completely different as well. And it got very frustrating for me. And I'm like, why don't other people like feel this? And turns out other people do feel that, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But I got to tell you, for the last like year or so, there is no difference when I wake up and go to the driving range. The swing feels exactly the same. The ball strike is exactly the same. The only thing that differs slightly is, some days you're just on it with the accuracy, and you're just really dialed, and some days you're not quite as dialed. But it's only now to do with accuracy, and which can all be fixed just by the release, and it's simplified everything. But my ball striking is exactly the same every single day. I rarely miss hit a shot. And I got to tell you, in college, I would miss hit shots all over the place, especially with wedge shots and all this. But the issue, is not to do with ball striking now. It's just to do with how dialed am I on the day? Like, am I just really dialed with the accuracy, or am I just a little bit off? And that's what you see with the pros is they don't really like. You're not going to see Scotty Scheffler like miss hit shots.
Yeah.
Very rarely. It's just to do with the accuracy, and that's the number one thing that the majority of golfers struggle with is just the consistency of strike. And you're fighting with one arm tied behind your back if your body's moving inefficiently, because it's moving differently every day and you're getting a different feel every day. Your body should feel the same pretty much every single day, because you're doing the same things, right? Like for example, if I have been super lazy one day and I've been lounging around on the couch, that will cause my body to feel a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
right? So creating this routine of, moving your body well, creating these good patterns in your movement helps your body to feel the same pretty much every day, and find that same feeling that then carries over to the golf swing.
So
So
are you, go on, go on.
no, fire away, go ahead.
Well, so are you, so you're supplementing maybe that's not the right word, but you're able to achieve that repeatable, consistent movement pattern, which gives you a consistent ball strike because of the work that you're doing in the gym with
Hmm.
your body and your movement patterns, right? Would you agree?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Go on.
no, so like, and the way that works is to explain it best is if you're going in and say doing bodybuilding workouts, right? What that workout is doing is fighting against your body's natural movement. So to take this way back to kind of get a full understanding of it, when we see how kids probably under the age of 4 or 5 move and the things that they
Yeah.
do, like how they rest, how they sit, 99.9% of them do the exact same things. So they all sit in a child seated. They sit in a cowboy position, which is
Yeah.
child seated in one leg, one knee up. Even when they're in a chair, they're still sitting in a child seated position. And no one teaches them this. It's just organic and they naturally do it. They all walk and run the same, right? With the exception of kids that are maybe born with things like cerebral palsy. Okay, what they're born with is the exact opposite, and they spend their entire life trying to get out of that. Right?
Yeah.
My wife's an occupational therapist, and she works with a lot of kids with cerebral palsy, and what they see is the complete opposite movement of how the other kids
Yeah.
are moving, and they literally spend their whole life trying to get away from that, right? And then the rest of us basically subconsciously spend our whole life getting into that
Yeah.
because through
Yeah.
the things that we do, right? So every kid, under the age of 4 or 5 moves exactly the same, does the same things. There's an organic way that our body wants to move and how it was designed to move. So when we go and do things like bodybuilding workouts or workouts that go against the way that our body wants to move, so if we're doing planks, for example, it's a very rigid position, and we're trying to tense the body and squeeze the core and squeeze everything to keep it as rock solid as possible.
Hmm.
But when we run and when we do things in life and when we swing a golf club, we need it free flowing. We don't want to be rigid, right? And so your body has this innate way that it wants to move, but then we're in the gym and we're doing things that go against that movement. And so what's happening there is you're getting these every day you're getting these minor kind of steps backwards when it comes to your movement, and your body's trying to like figure out what you want it to do, right? And so every day it feels a little bit different, and it's confused. That's the best way I can say it. Your body's confused with how to move because you're teaching it. Remember, your body's just learning whatever you do. So if you're sitting in a chair, if you're doing a deadlift, if you're doing a squat, your body's listening to what you're doing and it's trying to adapt to make it as comfortable in that position as possible. And so with that, and your body's like, I really would like to move this way, but you keep telling me to move this way.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of caught in, your body's a very incredible machine adapting, and it's got nerve endings all over the place, and it's honestly smart, right? We don't necessarily think of our body as an intelligent thing, but it is.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah. For
intelligent.
sure. For sure.
And feeding it, stimulus, and in the gym is a lot of stimulus, um, that goes against its natural movement, just confuses it. And you go to swing a golf club and it's just confused every day. And it's maybe trying different things to make it work. Um, and that is what I believe where the inconsistent ball striking, for me anyway, stemmed from. And so when you now go and do things in the gym and in life, in accordance with how your body wants to move and how your body was designed to move, your body's not confused anymore, and it just knows how to move.
Yeah.
And when it knows how to move, it becomes very easy to strike the golf ball the same, because your brain doesn't have to worry about thinking about how your body is moving. It can just focus on the golf ball. right? When it's moving inefficiently, your brain is thinking too much about how your body moves. And that should be a subconscious thing. And I think that's another thing with the golf swing is everyone's consciously thinking about how their body moves. It shouldn't be a conscious thought. That should
Right.
just be a subconscious thought. And your only conscious thought is getting the ball to go where you want it to go.
So
Um,
George, what are some of the things that you like to like characteristics of that organic or that innate way of moving? What are like some of the characteristics you like to think about or look for?
For sure. So the first thing is always at the foot and ankle level because that's the first point of contact with the ground.
Yeah.
So if we see an ankle collapse or we see a lack of foot control, so the big toe popping up or sinking into the heels, improper loading of the foot, we know we've got some issues because think of it as a chain of events of energy transfer, and the first point of contact is the foot. So if we have a break in the chain at the foot level, something somewhere else in the rest of the body is going to be compensating. And so the first thing I look at is the foot, and is there proper foot control? Are we loading through the ball of the foot around the cuboid, or are we loading into the heel? Is the ankle staying strong, or is the ankle collapsing? And then with that, we're going to take a look at the hip and how it connects to the foot and ankle. Okay, are they working in synchronization, or is there a flaw in that movement?
Hmm.
Um, and then we'll take a look at the scapulars. How are the scapulars moving? Um, and usually, the majority of golfers, it's the foot and ankle level,
I absolutely
and
agree.
that's usually the most common one. And the second most common is at the hip level.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing is those two things go hand in hand. So
Yeah.
the foot and ankle work together with the hip. Um, and that's what gives you these certain shapes with the kneecap, right? So I'll hear a lot of golf coaches talk about like what you want to do with your knees. And the knees really are just along for the ride. We shouldn't ever have a conscious thought of what to
Interesting.
do with the
Yeah.
knee. The knee is going to do whatever the hip tells it to do and whatever the foot and ankle is going to allow it to do.
Oh, I like that.
Um,
I like that. Yeah.
and same thing with the elbow. Um, I mean, there's zero difference between your elbows and your knees. It's the same thing. You have your shoulder and your wrist, and the middleman is the elbow, and then you have
Yeah.
your hip and your ankle, and the middleman is the knee.
Yeah.
But both do the same thing, right? Um, and that is like the understanding of that makes it a whole lot easier because focusing on the kneecap causes a lot of knee issues because it takes this focus away from the hip. So it's like, well, and this is where the focus on the movement of the body is important rather than the focus on positioning or static positioning, because you might look at a golfer and say, oh, well, look, when they've rotated through, their kneecap is pointing out this way. And then we go in and we try and copy that and we try and get our knee to point out. So we consciously move our knee out to try and copy that.
Hmm.
But the thing that we're not understanding is that's not a conscious feeling,
It's a
right?
reaction. Yeah.
That's a reaction. That's a byproduct of doing
Yeah.
something else in the golf swing. And so by making that a conscious feeling, you're creating more issues. And this is the main issue I have with the lead leg drive. So it's all over the place. Like teaching for speed is we need to drive into the ground with the lead leg.
Hmm.
And the basis behind this is that we see golfers on a force plate. I don't know if you've ever seen when they put them on a force plate, so you can see
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
weight
The grass.
transfer
Yeah.
is. And they say, oh look, he's got 75% of the weight into the lead side, so he's obviously pushing into the lead side. And it's like weight does not equal force,
Hmm.
right? You can have your weight on your left side, but you've been pushing off of your right side the entire time. The weight should be getting less of on the trail side because you're pushing off of it
Hmm.
and you're pushing to the lead side. But what a lot of the golf coaches I think they're not putting two and two together correctly. They're saying, well, the lead side has all this weight. We must be driving through the lead side. And so now we're going to teach to drive through the lead side to increase speed and clear the hips. But in my opinion, that's not what's happening at all. The weight shifting to the lead side is a byproduct of pushing through the trail side,
Right.
right?
I absolutely
Um,
agree.
and we see so many injuries come from just pushing into the lead side because it's this thrust with the pelvis. If you push into the ground, you're pushing backwards, and so
Yeah.
the pelvis moves forwards,
Yeah.
and it causes a lot more issues than it does benefits, in my opinion. And so I think there's a big misunderstanding in golf coaching of byproducts and causation.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, and that's honestly the biggest one is if you were going to throw a ball, do you push through your lead leg? No, your lead leg just is there to stabilize and slow the body down and land.
Hmm.
But if you looked at a force plate, you would see weight transfer to your lead leg, right? But you're not pushing through your lead leg. You don't step and then as you go to throw, you push through your front leg. It's all stemming from the trail side.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing in the golf swing. It's the same thing in a baseball swing. It's the same thing in a throw. It's the same thing in a tennis swing. The byproduct of pushing through the trail leg is weight is going to transfer to the lead side. But we don't want to consciously think I need to get to my lead side just because weight is going there.
Yeah.
And that's the main issue I see in a lot of golf coaching is it's teaching byproducts and it's not teaching causation. And the causation is just efficient loading and releasing of energy.
I absolutely
And it
agree.
simplifies it.
I had a new client today. I kind of spend more time in the gym one on one with people than I do on the range, but occasionally someone wants to take the gym stuff and take it to the range, which I love to do because it really kind of bridges the gap between those movement patterns. And the first thing, George, I do, they hit a few shots. All right, you feel okay? All right, now take your shoes off. Now
Yeah.
let's hit some shots without your shoes on. Straight away, they hit two shots, and we get so much information. Are your feet skating above the ground? Are we collapsing in? And you see
Yeah.
it all the time. As soon as those feet collapse, those knees, they kind of buckle in. And then the hips got to work super hard to try to clear and move in what we think is the right direction so we can get the club back down. And I tried to, it's really interesting when people come to a swing session for me with me the first time because they don't know what to expect. They know I'm doing this crazy stuff over here that nobody else is doing, using language nobody else is using, but they don't really get it too much until they are
Right.
standing in front of me. They take their shoes off, and I'm like, okay. The I point to the balls of their feet. Put as much pressure here as you can. All right, can you feel the ground? Can you grab the ground with your feet? And now use those pressure points that you have to kind of make your swing. And you can see that the first few swings they're uncoordinated. They don't really
Yeah.
know where to put things. But if I keep them in that position, and I say, just no, just keep working. No club in their hand. Just push your body, push your
Mm-hmm.
body, push your body. Um, they start to develop a natural rhythm, a natural flow, without trying to say, okay, P1, P2,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. It's just like, no, use your feet to push you into the positions you think you need to be in, and then use the other foot to give you stability to push through that.
Yeah.
And it opens their eyes every single time. Obviously, the next conversation that happens is about their golf shoes and whether their shoes are helping them or hurting them. Um, I have unofficially become like this foot specialist, uh, and I never set out to do that. But there's just so much value in having strong feet, and anybody that listens to any of my content knows I talk about feet all the time um, because they're so important. Obviously, the shoes
Mm-hmm.
are as important if I'm putting my feet into them that I can maintain the anatomical ability to use the foot the right way. Uh, and once the light bulb moment happens and they feel their feet driving them through space, they never lose those feet. They're not shifting backwards, they're not falling forward. They make that connection, and it usually takes 15, 20 movements. Maybe I'll let them hold a club now. The light bulb goes off.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't talk about anything else. I'm like, okay, well, now let's hit the ball and see what happens. The quality of strike gets so much better. They don't feel their back anymore, right? Because that's why they came to me, right? Because their
Yeah.
back was buckling. The back stuff disappears, and you can see their face change sometimes because they're almost looking for it. and then they don't feel it anymore. And I'm like, okay, we're going back to the feet, going back to the feet. So we'll go through some of that. Then I'll say, okay, well, let's put your golf shoes back on. And they put their golf shoes back on and they lose it all.
Yeah.
They can't find it. They're all over the place and they're looking at me frustrated, like, what just happened? I'm like, okay, you can take your shoes back off if you want.
Yeah.
Um, but we need to be able to use the ground and start the swing from your feet. Have you looked at any Dr. Joe Lacaze? Have you looked at his stuff?
I have not. No, not familiar with that.
He's got the Rotex plates.
Oh,
I'm,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I've
I'm
seen
sure
the
you've seen them.
the
I
Rotex.
have a
Yeah.
set here. Super, super great training tool to get people to really feel what their feet can do and
Right.
understand my feet are driving my hips. Okay, now my hips are stabilizing. My feet can go back. Um, but Dr. Joe Lacaze has some great information. He's got a few videos out there too, and he loves that cuboid bone. Man, he talks about that all the time. And
Yeah.
there's so much value. And if you get that visualization, you can kind of put it together. And Goda kind of touches on it too. They don't usually call it cuboid and the
Hmm.
spiral. They have some similar language, but they're right on the same path.
Yeah.
Um, if you get a chance, check into some of his stuff. It's really good. He does a lot of stuff with Eddie Fernandez, and
Yeah.
I
I think I've
so
seen him post some stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I really, and Eddie will say this too. I mean, that guy's what, 52 now and swings 150 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that by accident.
No.
You're only going to get that from efficient motion
Yeah.
and not conscious P1, P2, P3 thoughts.
Yeah.
Um, super, super good stuff. So, dude, I'm right in line with you. I think we are working and thinking a lot of the same ways. I'm curious, George, where do you think, when it comes to the golf fitness side of things, what do you think most coaches are, well, we don't have to say coaches, what do you think most people are missing in their golf training?
I think most people are lacking it entirely. Um, so I think most people that play golf don't even really set foot in the gym. Um, and I think those that do are focused on how how much either weight can I move, or they're focused on aesthetics. And then I see a few go into the gym and they think that just replicating a golf swing with a kettlebell is going to
Yeah,
make their swing better.
yeah,
That's probably honestly the most common form of golf training that I see is like, oh, well, I used the cable and kind of did my golf swing with the cable. So that's going to make me faster. And it's like, it's literally going to do absolutely nothing. Um, and same thing with like speed sticks and swinging air. It's going to cause a lot more harm than good because
absolutely, absolutely.
you're teaching your body to swing faster than it's actually capable of. And there's a reason your body is not going any faster. It's because it doesn't feel safe going any faster.
Yeah,
And so when you go faster than your body is feeling safe at, you're more likely to get injured. Um, but going into the gym and just imitating the golf swing with bands and or a kettlebell or this is honestly probably going to hurt you more because the weight is now controlling your body rather than you controlling the weight.
yeah,
Um, like especially if you're doing it with a kettlebell, it's going to swing your body into play and overstretch and over lengthen certain areas. And no one's focusing on foot control. Zero people that go into the gym are focused on foot control. I even see a lot of the golf fitness influencers, teaching these exercises, and then I'll like, I'm not going to name any names because everyone has their own
sure,
opinions and their
sure.
own viewpoints. But I'll go in and I'll film them and I'll slow it down, and you can just visibly see they're doing some kettlebell exercise. I'm like, well, there's absolutely zero foot control right here. Big toes popping up, sinking into the heel,
Hmm.
hips are thrusting forward, all this, and it's like, how's that going to help you? It's not going to
Yeah,
help you like whatsoever. And I think those things do have a short term success with people because people go from doing nothing to something. And like in the short run, doing bench press, back squats, deadlifts, is that going to make you hit it further? 100% in the short term. But in the long term, it's only going to work against you
yeah.
because your body will have adapted to those movements and it can't move as efficiently anymore.
So
And
instead of, go on, go on.
well, I think that's the main problem is human beings are very short-term animals. We like to see instant things. Like that's why people smoke cigarettes, because in the short term they don't feel it affecting them, but in the long run it does.
Yeah.
But humans struggle to look at the long term effects of things. And that's, I think, the problem with the golf fitness industry is no one's looking at these long term effects. And by long term, I mean 5+ years,
Yeah.
even in some cases, even after the first year, depending on how much you do this stuff. But no one's looking at the long term effects. And that's why, Scotty Scheffler now is feeling his back. I mean, again, would I take Scotty's career and have a little back pain? 100%,
Yeah. Yeah.
But, looking from the average golfer is not going to be playing on the PGA Tour. And the average person probably doesn't want to be in pain. And
Hmm.
so that's where the movement for longevity really comes in, is you want to be able to move and play well into your 70s, 80s, 90s and do all this. And, you know, just because someone's good at golf doesn't mean that they move well, because you can be good at something and still move. Like LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and he moves like shit.
Yeah.
And everyone can visibly see it, but they don't know what they're thinking about. Like if you watch a Michael Jordan play basketball, he floats around the court. It's effortless. And then if you watch LeBron, it looks like he puts an awful lot of force and energy into everything. Like
Yeah.
his jump just looks so powerful.
Yeah.
And
Right. Right.
what I say is, if it looks fast, like especially in the golf, if it looks fast, it's probably not fast. And
Yeah.
if it looks
Yeah.
very smooth, it's probably fast.
Yeah.
Um, and what makes things look very fast is inefficient movement.
Hmm.
Um, and what makes things look very smooth is efficient movement. Um, and that's really where I think people have the wrong idea when it comes to the gym, is we're just trying to like do everything fast. Because I want speed in the golf swing, but like holding an isometric position in accordance with how your body moves is going to make you so much faster than trying to swing a stick as fast as you can. And I've seen, um, there's some coaches, again, I'm not going to name any names because everyone has their own experience and everyone has their own opinions. And who am I to say that I'm right and someone else is wrong?
Hmm.
But in my opinion, I see people that promote like the bodybuilding stuff, like back squats, deadlifts, and all this, and say like, this is how you get fast, and this is how you're gonna increase your speed, and it's not gonna have any negative effect. And the missing link there is, I think, the understanding of, and there's some quick people like that swing, some of the fastest in the world, talking about this. And the only way that you can see if your training actually is doing that is if you completely stop swinging the golf club for 2 years and only train that way.
Right.
Because if you're training in a certain way, but then you're also swinging the golf club and working on speed in your golf club, well, is it the training in the gym that's making you faster and better? Or is it you swinging the golf club and you're
Great
just also
question.
training in the gym?
Great
Because
question.
I haven't done a speed session in 2 years, or probably like a year and a half. And I did one the other day. I was telling you last time we spoke, I'm at the exact same speed.
What
I
speed are
haven't.
you at, George? Well, how fast are you swinging with your
I hit
gamer?
215 ball speed,
Ball speed. Yeah.
and the max I've ever hit is 217.
Yeah.
I've never really pushed speed training. I've never really been, I've been through a couple months where I've, maybe done it quite a few times, but I've never pushed for a prolonged period of time, just because I don't know. I don't really care too much about swinging stupidly fast. It's not going to help my golf game now. Um, but the fact that I haven't done a speed session and have lost absolutely zero speed just shows that my training is efficient. Now, I can't tell you so many times that I've seen some of the long drivers maybe stop training quite as hard and their speed drops off. Your speed should not drop off if you stop, really pushing. You should be able to maintain that level. Obviously, there's other factors as you start to get older and all this, right? But within the span of a year or 2 years, you shouldn't be getting drastically slower. And I've seen some guys that, have maybe stopped and they've dropped 10, 15 miles an hour. And so that then begs the question, it's like, well, the training, you've still been in the gym, you've still been
Hmm.
lifting the same weights, you've still been doing that, but why is your golf swing got slower? And I think
Yeah.
there's this big confusion with where this benefit and where this speed is coming from. It's not coming from you getting, new PRs on your squat and you gaining tons of muscle. That's maybe it's helping a little bit, but the main bulk of it is coming from you swinging that golf club
Yeah.
and working that. So the only true way to really see is, hey, don't swing a golf club for a year, but keep doing the training that you're doing and see what your speeds are like, because I can guarantee they've dropped off
Yeah.
by at least 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But if you're training efficiently and you're still moving your body, you'll come back and you'll be right at the same speed.
Yeah.
And that's where I think there's a lot of confusion is the if you're doing that stuff in the gym and you're also swinging the golf club and hitting golf balls, it's like it makes you think that the stuff in the gym is making you better, but it's not. It's you hitting the golf balls. That's
Yeah.
what's making you swing faster and be better at golf. Obviously, a base level of strength is important, but
Right.
once you hit a certain point, like why don't strong men swing a golf club at 170 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Because
Efficiency, right?
they don't
Efficiency.
train it, yeah. But
Yeah.
like but then look at like I don't know, a tennis player. They're going to swing a golf club at a certain speed and they're going to be pretty good at it just because that's the training that they do. But they've
Mhm.
never really swung a golf club. It's just swinging a tennis racket, and they'll be a lot quicker than a strong man swinging a golf club.
Yeah.
And so, like, obviously, the training from a strongman point of view isn't going to make you swing a golf club quicker unless you swing a golf club.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's a difficult thing to get across to people because, like I said, we're so invested in the short term, and we're like
Yeah.
in the short term, you're like, I'm so much stronger, but in the long run, it's like it's just hurting your movement, and it's not going to make you move more efficiently.
Yeah.
Um, but it's tough to show people that
I
because, like I
agree.
said,
It's a hard sell. I mean, if people are coming to me with pain, what they want instant relief, right? They
mm-hmm,
want relief straight away. And I always tell them, look, we're not going to chase your pain. We're going to chase imbalance. And if
mm-hmm,
we happen to fix some of this pain along the way, we'll just call it a win. But there has to be a long-term plan in place to keep you moving further away from this space of where you feel pain. And it's even more so if there's someone comes to me for a swing session, right? They're coming to me because they have a swing problem. They want me to fix that problem in that hour.
yeah,
It's like, well, we can assess it and find out what's our weakest link right now. Maybe it's the feet, maybe it's something else, but we need to address that first. And now here's some drills or exercise to help you get your feet under you better, gain and maintain foot control. But you got to go do this for a month and then come back to me, and then we'll have
yeah,
a conversation about what's changed. And they kind of get a weird look, because they're expecting to this hack, this biohack, or this one little thing that's going to kind of magically fix the whole movement chain. And it really just doesn't work that way. But it's a tough sell for sure.
yeah.
I mean, the whole
But
industry is
it's
built
worth it
on
on the other end.
it's so worth it, so worth it.
Yeah,
And anybody that's worked with me for a year plus, I mean, they're a different human now, right?
yeah,
Because we polished up the foundational movement first, and the golf swing stuff came second. That was
yeah,
secondary. Um, when I started this business, my motto at the beginning was strong for life, strong for golf.
yeah.
Life being first, right? Life
Mm-hmm.
being first. Um, but for my 50-year-old male that just wants to go play golf and drink beer, he doesn't care so much about life.
Right,
He wants
right.
he wants to go fix the golf game, even though the training and the work we're doing with people is absolutely the same. Whether I'm training you for life or training you for golf, there's still a focus on the fundamental organic. I love that word that you use, movement patterns and being able to control their skeleton in space.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, let's take a quick break. I'm going to pause this just for a second.
Okay.
All right, George. So we're going to switch a little bit. We talked about, the foundational maybe misunderstandings that a lot of people have about their golf swing and what's working, what's not working. We talked a little bit about addressing the fundamental changes that people need to have when they're training, because we know we need to train to take care of our bodies to play golf. Uh, and you've got a really great app program that's out there and available for anybody. I have run through it myself. There's some really good stuff on it. When I'm tired of training clients for the day, but I need to move and I don't want to use my trainer brain anymore.
Yeah.
I go to your app and I run through it myself. So take a minute and tell everybody about that, where they can find it, and what they're going to get from it.
For sure. Yeah, so it's all done through my social media. So on my Instagram, pro golfer, it's just a link in my bio, and there's a free week trial, so to check out all the stuff, and then after that, it's $14.99 a month, or you can do an annual subscription, which knocks it down to I think $8.99 a month, for the annual subscription, but included with that is one-on-one lessons with me, and is pretty much as many as you want. So I mean, it's very good, kind of bang for your buck. It's like a Netflix subscription.
Yeah. How
And
many
you're
of
getting
those do they have?
unlimited. Yeah, exactly, right. But yeah, you're getting all the access to my video library with golf drills and exercise tutorials and stuff like that I try to put new stuff on each week. Um, and then the main kind of bulk of it is I need to get one-on-one with people, and that's why I've done it like this, because golf's expensive for starters, and just having like a lesson can cost upwards of $150, and that's why I've done it like this, because the way my method is it's not like how we were talking before. It's not a click and you go work on this and go. It's more of a, this is the first step, but we need to progress our way up. You need to first of all understand what I'm even talking about. It's not like I can just give you a drill and go do it, because like how you were saying before, you get people barefoot to be able to just feel the ground, and it's very feely, and we need to understand how our body moves. We need to feel how we want it to move. And that can take weeks for people just to get that first kind of feeling and first clicking moment. I'd say there's probably about 10 to 15 clicking moments that people have. And I get clicking moments still. And I've been doing this for like 6 years, and I still get clicking moments.
What's a clicking
Because
moment, George? Describe that to
so
me.
an example for a clicking moment would be, so I had one the other day that I actually need to make another video for the app for, because I teach how the golf swing is it's a throw, and we
Yeah.
actually want to release the club earlier than you might think, because everyone talks about shaft lean,
Mm-hmm.
and we think we got to hold the hands forward to get shaft lean, and that what that causes a late release. And so when you've got a late release, you can get a two-way miss, because you either smother the ball with the closed face, or you try and save it at the last minute and the face slides open. So you can get a two-way miss. And I think we need to release the club a lot quicker than most people think. And so that's why I teach it as like a throw. So if I was going to throw the ball with my trail arm in golf posture, that's the kind of feel. And the clicking point I actually had yesterday was that I believe will help a lot of people is we can have a conscious thought of we're going to throw the ball into the ground. So I teach, we're trying to throw the ball. What sometimes that can cause is the shoulders to rotate just a little bit too flat. But if you try and throw in the ground, now you're going to get a good shoulder turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was a clicking point I actually had yesterday, was because listen, everyone has a different feel And so what I say to one person might really click with them, but it
Yeah.
doesn't quite
Yeah.
click with the other person.
Yeah.
And that's the most challenging part about coaching, is trying to find what resonates with each individual person. You're
Yeah.
try you're trying to teach the same thing, but he understands it this way and he understands it this way.
Yeah.
But you're teaching the same thing. And so that would be an example of a clicking point, is just a feel that when you feel it, you're also getting what you want to see.
Okay.
So I'm feeling loading that energy good and I can feel the load. Are we also seeing that? And if we're seeing it and you're feeling it, that would be a clicking point where you're like, oh my God, like this makes so much sense. And that's just simplified it. So
And
that's like a
so,
clicking point.
okay. So, and in your program, again, I've gone through it many times. So, uh, in the read code portion of your program, right? That I absolutely agree with you. I feel like if people really give that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
conscious thought, they're going to get those clicking moments of feeling, well, this is an odd way to move, but I can feel pressure. I can
Yeah.
use this pressure now to move my body around instead of just unconsciously, let me bring this dumbbell up to my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. It's about feeling where your body is in space, and like how do I like, it's so much deeper than just like, here, put in this position, put in this position, do this exercise, do this mobility exercise. It's so much deeper than that. It's feel it. Can I feel like how energy is gathered from the ground and comes into my body and then gets really, can I feel that?
Yeah.
And most of the time I see like athletes or past athletes have a much easier time with that. They get it a lot quicker just because they have a certain awareness about their body. People who have been quite sedentary and haven't really been moving much and maybe just not been doing many sports or much activity have a much harder time, or it takes longer to feel it because their body is not, they don't have an understanding of their body. And I
Yeah.
think
The proprioception. Yeah.
that's like the main thing in the general population, is most people just don't have an understanding of their body. Like, I think that's the main bulk of it, is like, if you can't feel everything, that's a sensation that I highly recommend you gaining
Yeah.
just for life. Because when you can feel it, it's hard to put into words, but it's like you can pretty much do anything. Like you can, even if you didn't move perfectly and it was causing you some pain, for example, if you can still feel where your body is, you can kind of understand yourself, where it's coming from and what the problem is. And I see so many people in pain that they just have no idea why. Why am I in
Right.
pain? And I think it's this lack of, like, it's just a lack of consciousness of your body, because it's not been doing the things that it wants to do and it was designed to do.
So the
Um,
app's going to help me or help any player create those feelings and
yeah,
find those feelings.
that's it's a hard thing to market for. We talked about this
Yeah.
before. It's a
Yeah.
very
I
hard thing to
yeah.
market for. Um, but that's honestly, if you get anything out of it, that will be the most important thing, is to feel where your body is in space and feel energy, feel how energy is gathered and released, and just be able to feel that. And that in itself will improve your golf game drastically without your swing technically getting any better.
Mhm.
But it will get better if you can feel it, because so many people are just going through the golf swing, they can't feel their golf swing. And they're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And it's like, well, just hit 20 golf balls. You should be able to figure out what you're doing wrong if you have
Yeah.
a conscious feeling. Like if I'm
Yeah.
pulling it, I can feel why I pulled it.
Yeah.
And you can correct it on the next shot. That it's that simple. That you should be able to feel exactly what caused your shot.
I like to
And
do
so,
this thing. Go on. Sorry, go on.
no, but that's what I was saying. Is that's why I have the program set up how I have it set up. Where the main kind of focus is, listen, you can get as many one-on-one sessions with me as possible. I want to talk about this stuff. I want to help you understand it, and I want to get you to that point. And it's tough to get to that point just by watching drill videos from social
Right.
media influencers, for example. Um, So that's why I've done it how I've done it is I've tried to make it as affordable as possible for people um to be able to like learn and understand this stuff. Because I truly believe it would change people's lives and change people's golf swings and golf games.
I agree.
Um,
Absolutely.
because like I said, you should be able to feel every shot and feel what went wrong if that shot went wrong. Like if
Yeah.
you hit a bad shot, you should have felt that in your body. And if you didn't feel it and you couldn't feel what went wrong, you don't have awareness or a conscious awareness of how your body is moving and what it's doing. It's again, it's hard to put into words, but you should be able to be like, oh, I missed that one right. Well, I know exactly what I did. I felt that. I felt how I kept the club face open. I felt myself falling on top of it, for example, and I could feel that. Too many people are just hitting a bad shot and they're like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah.
And the fix is not to just be like, well, let's fix the golf swing. The fix is let's help you be able to fix your own golf swing without fixing
Absolutely.
the golf swing.
Absolutely.
It's like
Absolutely.
let's help you feel what went wrong.
I
And
tell people
that's
that
what the
all.
program's about.
Yeah. I tell people, clients come to me and, I'm not cheap. I'm not cheap
Yeah.
by Swedish standards for a reason.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I tell people, look, you can pay me to train you every week if you like. Sounds fantastic. I'd love to, but your money's going to have more value if I teach you how to train yourself. If we
Hmm.
can make you self-sustaining, we can only get there though if I can teach you how to feel. So
Yeah.
I'll take someone, after we've done a little bit of table work and kind of let them feel muscles contracting that maybe they haven't felt in a really long time. Anybody that's worked with me that listens to this will absolutely understand this. Um, after we get those connections reconnected, I take them to a movement that's going to be, compounding those activations and those contractions, and we go through the movement 3, 5 times, whatever it may be,
Mhm.
and I'm like, look, we're going to do the same thing. Close your eyes,
Yeah.
close your eyes, and just feel what your body's doing. Man, 8 out of 10 times they are much smoother and move better with their eyes closed than they ever did looking at the mirror.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, should you swing with your eyes closed? Mm,
It's
maybe
feel
not.
it, then it's feel it, then see it.
Feel it,
Don't
then
see
see it.
it, then yeah, don't see it, then try and feel it.
I've done
You got
that
to
as
feel it
well.
first.
And sometimes, again, anybody that's been around me any time knows we kind of experiment, do some odd
Yeah.
things, and sometimes I'll set them up to the ball, and they're moving really good. They got a nice flow. They're using the ground really well, efficiently. I say, all right, we're going to hit golf balls with your eyes closed. They're always apprehensive about it, but then they hit that first shot and they hit the ball, and they usually struck it pretty well.
Yeah.
And we do it 2 or 3 more times, and I'm like, okay, well, enough of this. Now you can open your eyes again, but you felt it, right? You could feel where you were. You weren't trying to micromanage your
Hmm.
swing. You just felt where you were and you responded to that. It became reactionary instead of conscious thought. I got to be here. I got to put my elbow in. So, dude, I think you're spot on. You got to feel your body. You got to know where your body is. The gym is the safest place, right, to be able to experiment with that.
Yeah.
And I think you have some absolutely wonderful movements on your app and your training programs that help you establish that connection and reconnect to that feeling. Um, Earlier, you talked about how small kids move, and I love to watch babies move, right? Because it's
Yeah.
uninhibited. They just
Yeah.
move,
No
and I
one's
love to
telling them
watch.
how to do anything. It's just
No,
whatever the creator of movement,
yeah,
innate movement said. It's just it's there, and they
their
did.
body just
There's no
finds it.
conscious thought.
Occasionally,
Um,
I'll do a group class here at Golf Arena, and I always have. There's always 2 or 3 movement exercises involved. You got to move across the room, and then I'll have people get down in like a bear crawl, and I'm like,
yeah.
just crawl, go forwards and backwards. They can't do it, man.
Yeah.
They
Babies do
can't.
it just like so easily.
It's innate. They don't think
Yeah.
about it. And I get, adults, well, 30s, 40s, 50s, more. It's like the older they become, the harder it is for them to crawl. And I
Yeah.
understand there's body compensations, things don't feel very good, your joints are tight. I'm like, okay, just be patient with me, just give me what you got. crawl forwards, crawl backwards. And it kills them, man. It
Yeah.
kills them. It's like the hardest thing out of the whole workout to do is just crawl
Yeah.
across the floor. So I see that all the time. And occasionally, one of my long-term clients is an orthopedic surgeon. So you can imagine the
Right.
conversations we have about,
Yeah.
okay, what are you guys doing? Are you thinking about movement post surgery? And
Right.
he's like, well, there's a rehab plan in place. And I'm like, well, we don't have to talk about that, but you could see the gears turn. And he's like, well, no, we're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
A patient comes to us with a dysfunction, a structural change, even through bad movement, that now we have to recreate a better structure. And then hopefully your physio and your trainer can teach you how to use it again. Um, and I hate to use this analogy, but it's so true, and it's a little bit absurd. But if you think about tribesmen and Aborigines, those people aren't having knee replacements, hip replacements.
No.
They're on the ground.
They're
They're
90 years
barefoot
old in a deep squat.
in
Yeah.
a deep squat, and they don't have to think about
Hmm.
it. But I bet they can feel it, right?
Yeah. Oh, they can definitely feel everything. They're so in tune with nature. That's another untalked part about it is
Yeah,
there's so many aspects that have like these minor impact. Like I say minor, for me they're major in my life, but in terms of for your golf game, it has a minor impact. But like what you eat, your lifestyle, how much
yeah,
sleep you get, these are all things that like for example, you will play better golf if you are happier, for example. It's not something we really think about too much, but you will play better golf. So in terms of that, shouldn't it, say, let's say you're trying to really like play professional golf and you're trying to win a US Open, you're trying to do all this, right? You need every edge that you can get.
yeah,
And so you're gonna play better golf if you're at peace and happy. So shouldn't every then aspect of your life be trying to get to that point or trying to sustain your everyday life at the same level? So your diet is going to have an influence on how your mind thinks. It's going to have an influence on things like depression, anxiety, just being happy, sunlight, getting vitamin D, getting all of your nutrients in, getting ample sleep. All of these things tie in, getting your mind right with meditation. All of these things tie into performance with golf. Um, and that's only going to make a huge difference with if you're trying to really go pro. That's why I say it's like a minor thing because the average golfer, like, sure, can that stuff improve them? Yeah, absolutely. But I'd say there's probably bigger fish to fry right now with your movement, and it will drip feed some like him. Maybe stop eating those chips.
hmm
Maybe stop eating the fries, and you can still have it, but like let's maybe not only eat that. Let's maybe throw in some nutritious food because you keep getting tired around hole 13.
hmm
You should be able to play 36 holes walking fasted. I fast when I play golf.
yeah,
I don't. And people are like, I haven't eaten until 8 p.m. People are like, oh my god, how are you not tired? It's like, well, because my body's used to it, and I take care of it. I feed it the right stuff. I'm moving good. This is all an aspect of it. You should not get tired. And like you see it here on the commentary, or you're hearing like tournaments, and it's like, yeah, I just got like really tired around like hole 15. I forgot my protein bar or whatever. It's like, what? And when you're in a fasted state, you should have more energy
yeah,
because that's what kicks in with your body. You go into survival mode, and your body needs to find food, right? And so it actually gives you more energy. But if you're a sugar burner and you've been eating a load of crap and your body burns sugar for energy, you've just run out of sugar. And so now you're feeling low.
yeah.
You shouldn't be burning sugar for energy. But most people are, and that's why they get tired around hole 12,
hmm
hole 13.
hmm
And so there's tiny little things like this that do have an impact, and also affect pain. So your diet's going to affect how your body feels,
With
and
inflammation
certain
levels,
pains,
yeah,
inflammation levels, so many things, blood flow to certain areas, healing injuries. I mean, there's so many aspects for it, and that's why like it's been an uphill battle with the program trying to get it how I want it because I have OCD.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle to put things out that I don't feel like is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to tell myself like I'm never gonna figure out the perfect way to do this. And it's been an uphill battle to try and get it all like structured right, but I have so much in my head to get out. It's impossible for me to structure it in a program that's like, do this now, do this next, then
Mm-hmm.
that. It's like, no, you I just watch my videos and just try and get an understanding of what I'm talking about and then go in and feel it. And then when you're on the wavelength that I'm trying to talk at, you're gonna understand everything. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the tiniest little like tip, and you're gonna go, "Oh my god, that makes so much sense." Like I have this
There's
new
my
chipping
there's
like
my
I
click moment.
there's a click moment. Like I had, like I go to the golf course out here, and one of the assistant pros there, I play with him all the time, and I was teaching him because my chipping's pretty damn solid right now. I feel like I have chipping pretty figured out, as well as you can have chipping figured out, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in there's a certain shot that in say you're in the rough and it's sat down, um, and you have to stop it quick. You're short sighted. It's downhill. You got to stop it quick. Well, you're not going to generate any spin off of the ball out of this lie. It's in the rough. Um, and just from hitting golf balls and just experimenting by myself, I figured out this like dead wristed shot where I basically grab a 56 or 60 and I just open the face completely and I'm not even thinking about hitting the ball. I'm just thinking about sliding the golf club under the ball. And what happens is you know you're not going to get spin out of this. So why are we breaking the wrists? And I play this dead end shot, and what happens is the ball just pops up, but so soft that it even ends up short of the hole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play around with this, and I just keep it, and it works every single time. And I showed it to the assistant pro, and he's like, "This has changed my chipping game." And this is what I want people to experience: is that is how you should learn how to play shots. You should have the fundamental understanding of how the body moves, fundamental understanding of what you do with your body and what you do with your wrists and your release, and how that can create different shots, and then go and mess around with it and figure out what is really working for you in different situations. Everyone has a different swing, everyone has a different feel, but fundamentally the same things are going to work. But like what a feel for me might be a different feel for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the side of it where it's like, listen, just get out there and just experiment, hit all kinds of different shots. Try with no wrist hinge, try with a ton of wrist hinge, try all these different, try releasing it really quick, try releasing it really slow. See what that does to the ball. If you release it, if you hold off the release, it's going to pop out lower. If you really release it quick, it's going to pop out a lot higher. But you don't need to worry about like, what's this doing? What's this? What's it? Just all off of feel. And that's like that's where golf gets really fun.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to share with people is I quit golf for 6 months in college because it wasn't fun for me anymore, because I was spending 8 hours a day trying to work on swing mechanics, positioning, and just wasn't scoring any better. And it was just draining. Now it's like, I just kind of work on the release. I'm just, all right, how's my release feeling today? And then I just go out and play. Um, and your scores get better and you also enjoy it more. And at the end of the day, that's for the average golfer, that's kind of the whole point is let's enjoy it more and let's lower those scores while you're enjoying it without
Yeah.
the need to like really grind. It's just, well, maybe let's just create a daily habit here of your movement. Um, Hey, we're going to do these 3 exercises every morning and you're just going to dial them in. You're going to get really good at them. If you go to the gym already, well, instead of squatting like this, let's learn this new squat and let's squat that way. Instead of doing your lunges like this, we're going to do it like this. But you can still get your workout in. You still get that same feel. But now we're programming in good movement patterns. And then it's, hey, don't worry so much about your positioning of your golf swing. Let's go off of feel. Because if and this is a drill I get a lot of people to do is, why are we taking full swings right now if you can't even make contact with the ball?
Hmm.
Let's take it back just a quarter of the way. Let's just work on a baby chips. And once you can hit 10 in a row with the exact same strike, going straight, just lengthen that swing a little bit. Lengthen it by half a foot, and then go again. Once you can hit 10 in a row straight with a consistent strike, lengthen it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And build this rhythm. Just build this rhythm. You don't have to stand there going like P1, P2, P3. Like, no, just start really small and gradually build up, and
Yeah.
you're going to figure out how to hit the ball. But the most important thing is to get your body to a point where it's able to move efficiently and subconsciously, that you're not having to consciously think about how to load. You just feel it. You can just feel how to load. Your body just knows how to load. You shouldn't have to feel how to load. And that's the goal, is to get people to this point where they just subconsciously do it, and it makes it a whole lot easier. And then they also have no pain.
Yeah.
And golf is fun when it's like that. I'll tell you that golf is
Yeah, for
fun.
sure. Going back to your point about the quarter half swings, um, for me too, if I have somebody that really needs ball striking feels, um, I call it L to L, right?
Mm-hmm.
L to L. And I kind of got that from Justin James. I went down to Jacksonville last year and spent a day with him down at his place. And I mean, what, he's number three in the world right now. I mean, he's
Yeah, I
way
mean,
up
he's
there.
so good. Yeah, he's so good.
He's so good. So I flew to the States. I mean, we made some other things happen while we were there, but I flew to the States, hired him for a day, and spent the day with him. And dude, for the first 4 hours, all I was doing was L to L. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, hey man, I'm a long driver coming to number three long drive player in the world, and
Yeah,
I hadn't even touched a driver yet.
yeah,
And he was like, yeah, he was like, I know, we got to get to it, but you know what? You have to feel this first. You have to feel this first. And later on, you know, of course, we broke the drivers out, and I got to swing some of those with him. But uh, absolutely right. I mean, if you're struggling with ball striking and balance, and you're all over the place, you're really wasting your time trying to fine tune those things with a full swing at full speed, at least.
yeah,
You got to really kind of chunk it down and to bring it to something, you know, these levels that you can master and feel first,
yeah.
and then kind of step it up. Buddy, thanks so much for hanging out and sharing your philosophies and some of the things you're working on. I think there's a tremendous amount of gold in what you're putting out. Uh, I feel like since we do think so much alike, I feel like the golf fitness industry and the golf coaching industry is starting to wake up to
Yeah,
change and understanding that
100%.
wait a second, we kind of
This
missed
is
the
a
mark here.
fluid motion. This is a fluid motion. It's not a robotic swing. Um,
We need to think about this differently. And if you can't do it with your body, you're hoping and wishing you can do it with a club.
yeah,
Not to undermine or discredit any PGA teaching pro, but I hope if they listen to this, they can take maybe a slightly different perspective and understanding the body's got to feel what it needs to do
yeah.
before we can get change a ball flight and get the club to do what we need it to do. So,
I
buddy,
think
thanks so
the
much. Yeah,
I'll just
go on,
say one last thing, but I
Yeah.
think like for someone listening, like, well, how should swinging a golf club feel? I think that if you, and this, I use this analogy all the time, if you were going to throw a golf ball around a golf course, how easy that would feel is how it should feel playing golf.
Hmm.
Um, that's the fundament, because it's exactly the same thing. The golf club is just an extension of that trail arm, and instead of the ball being in your hand, it's just stationary, and you've got to hit it with the end of the club. But it's the exact same feeling, and that's like the end result. Once you can get feeling that, it's just a throw. It should be as easy as just throwing a golf ball around a golf course, and you would not think about anything other than look at your target and throw it. And
Yeah.
that's the end result. That's the end goal, is to get golf feeling like that, because it's so much simpler.
Should we go to the range and just start throwing a bucket of balls?
Exactly. If you
Yeah.
can throw them
Yeah.
underhand, I'm trying to develop a training aid right now where, so picture a lacrosse stick, how you throw overhand.
Hmm.
and you got to flick the wrist to get the ball to
Hmm.
release. And if you release hard, the ball's going to go low because it's overhand, and if you hold off the release, it's going to go higher. But if you swing a lacrosse stick underhand, the ball just falls out. But I'm trying to develop the training aid right now where it's like an attachment on the club face where the ball sits in it.
Hmm.
And it will come out at impact at different levels depending on how you release it. So it doesn't fall out in your backswing. And then as you
Hmm.
come through, you can release it because I think once people feel the fact that you are trying to throw the golf ball off the end of the golf club rather than trying to hit the golf ball, it's going to change. It's going to change some games.
Oh,
Um,
that sounds
it's
awesome.
like it's a sling. It's
Yeah.
literally a sling. It's not a hit. Stop trying to hit the ball. Imagine the ball is attached to the club and you're trying to sling the ball off of the club. And that will completely change your golf game because it's a throw, it's not a hit. So
Really
I'm
cool.
I'm I'm trying to figure out the best way to develop this training aid, but it's gonna take a lot of testing to get the angles
Yeah.
right so that it works properly. But we'll see. Maybe in the near future we'll have that out.
Man, you got some great things happening there in Houston.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Love it
that's
out
awesome.
here.
George, thanks so much for hanging out and sharing with us all this incredible information. In the show notes, I'll put all the links to come find you and to find the app. Again, I can't recommend
Awesome.
that enough to anybody. And we have to do this again, man, because I want to go long drive next time.
Oh, 100%.
I just,
I'll do this as much as you want. I love it.
yeah, dude. I mean, we could even make this a somewhat regular thing, where we
For
come out
sure.
every couple of weeks and we talk about a different topic. That'd be really fun, by the way. That'd be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Um, Dude, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And anybody listening, if you want more information, you can reach out to me on social media. You can absolutely get a hold of George as well, pro_golfer. Uh, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. Let us know what you think about this. If you got questions, we love to answer them. And we hope to see you guys on the course.
Awesome.